The spectre of international terrorism has reared its head again in Bali, with a bloody showdown where Indonesian police shot dead 5 suspected terrorists in the capital Denpasar and the tourist resort of Sanur. Police in Jakarta say the terror cell had scoped a popular bar in the upmarket beach strip of Seminyak as a potential bombing target and had stockpiled firearms and ammunition. Our Indonesia correspondent Matt Brown joins us now from Jakarta. And Matt, what do police think the targets were?
Well, Chris, given that they've killed the 5 men they say were involved in this cell, what they're talking about is essentially speculation. That said, the speculation is based on surveillance. The police say they saw these men visiting a gold dealer on the way out to the popular surf break of Uluwatu and a money changer in Kuta, near Kuta Beach. The third place of note that they say they saw them visit was a cafe at Seminyak, which is just north of the Kuta Legian strip. So when they were asked repeatedly today, did they have positive information about that cafe being the target of a terrorist attack, they couldn't actually quote any, they couldn't cite any. They put it much more in terms of it being a logical deduction, that these men were suspected of planning robberies to raise money for terrorism, that those robbery targets were likely the money changer and the gold dealer, and that therefore the cafe was the most likely site for the planned terrorist attack. As far as weapons go, no evidence of any explosives because it takes money to buy explosives, and the ammunition and guns that were involved were 2 handguns, a couple of magazines and around 48 rounds of 9mm ammunition.
So given what you say, when did the police think that they would have attacked and why?
Again, that's in the realm of speculation. There's been talk of Nyepi, the Hindu New Year holiday, which is on Friday of this week. But that doesn't gel with a cafe being the target necessarily, because Bali basically shuts down as of the night before Nyepi. So look, anything's possible, but they don't have firm information about timing or location of a potential attack.
Where did the men come from?
This all goes back to 2009, to Aceh in northern Sumatra, when Bali bomber Dul Martin and a bunch of fellow travellers from a very broad range of jihadist and Islamist groups got together and established a terrorist training camp. That camp was busted in February of 2010, and since then the notorious Abu Bakr Bashir has been jailed for his role in that camp. But importantly, people who attended it have since scattered to the wind. Since then, they've committed a series of terrorist acts, including small attacks on police, as well as robberies to raise money for terrorism. And it was one of those robberies in Medan in Sumatra in August of 2010 that has led to this chain of events, because a man allegedly involved in that robbery showed up in Bali in February this year, and that's when this surveillance operation began. So basically, people from all over the archipelagos, 2 locals from Bali who've been living there for quite some time, but we don't know their religion or where their parents grew up, and people from elsewhere in the archipelago.
So do police believe that they've got all the men in this cell?
All I can say is that there's around half a dozen still missing from that Medan heist, and that those men are believed to have gone and set up their own little groups the way this chap in Bali has done. But they don't have any positive information about whether or not there were other men directly involved in this Bali operation.
Now, so according to reports that indicate that one of the men is from Bali in Jimbaran, how will the Balinese react to that? Well,
they'll be appalled, of course, and there will be questions, as I was alluding to earlier, about, I guess, what his religion, his ethnicity is, where he comes from. If his parents are from out of town, from off the island, it'll play into a long-standing narrative about outsiders being responsible for a lot of the bad things that go on in Bali. But I've got to say, I had the pleasure of interviewing the governor of Bali, Made Pastika, a few weeks ago. He, of course, is the pragmatic policeman who helped round up the Bali bombers in the very beginning. And he pointed out that one of the great marks of tolerance in Bali was that there was no retribution, no seeking out of the outsiders after that heinous attack back in 2002. And I guess we can only hope that that kind of thing continues.
Matt Brown, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.